Testing, testing. This is Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Let's see if all that's there. What's up, Yes? How are you? I had to hit the button twice, so not sure if that's going to affect anything, but what's up, Valjean? What's up, Brandon? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everyone? All right, so let me do this. Let me go get everything set up. We'll go to content. All right, so we got that on. So I'm looking for some sort of like platform that's going to, and I'd hit it twice. I did. I don't know if it sent two YouTube things. I don't know. Let me see if it posted to Discord. Alright, let's take a look. Did it come up twice? Wow, I got more spam. Report account. More spam. Report account. I had someone posing as myself write me and try to recruit me to my own fake thing, apparently. Magical Rooster. I guess they're really trying to push different servers. All these for Magical Rooster, whatever that is. All right, let's see. Go ahead and post this thing. So how's everyone's day going? Everyone have a good day on the market? What's up, Jonathan? Volume still growing on ATER. Yep, it'll get there eventually. Arthium when the pants come off, don't you know? I think. Entertain me, Anon. Entertain me. All right. All right, good. I only see one thing. You bought semi at 97 cents. How did that do for you? Let's take a look. Oh, there you go. Made some money on it. 40%. That's nice. You haven't sold any, right? That's a gap up. XELA ran quite a bit today after hours. Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, isn't True Demon's crew part of that thing? Are they? Yeah, they had a 19% after hours and a 15% day, so that's a nice thing. Now, we'll see what they wake up to, but if they wake up, I think I actually have some spreads on that, if I remember correctly. I actually have optionality, and I think I have XELA spreads. My break even is 103, so I'm even on those trades, or I should be. Yeah, so I'll have to see. My max gain is $4, and my break even is 103. So as long as we finish, or XELA finishes 44 days from now, which is September 16th. So as long as that happens, if I'm above 103, I'll make money on that spread. So, yeah, AMC had a nice little run. If you guys haven't seen, AMC had, after hours even finished up. So we'll see. I have to be careful because I sold like a handful of $19 covered calls on that, and some $21 and $22 calls on that. If we MOAS, then, great, but I'm seeing, from the chart, I was looking at it, and I was like, I'm going to sell like a couple 19s and a couple of the 20-somethings, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Or if this is a double top, we don't know. We're going to find out tomorrow. It was Wednesday, so if you look, right, Wednesday's typically the day they try to draw in more, more people, so into the options chain. So, yeah, I've got actually FFEI or IE. I have some call spreads on them as well. In fact, I think I have that for tomorrow. Not for tomorrow, Friday. I've got a call spread of, I bought a $2 call and I sold a $2.50 call. So as long as we finish 238 and above, I'll make money. Not like a ton, like I'll make like $20. Yeah, I'd love it if it were just runs, but I have a cap because I sold a call with it, which makes a spread. All right, let's do this while we're getting people in here. So everyone, we're just going to kind of go over the Discord real quick. If anyone wants, because I want to get you guys more friends to play with in there. So yeah, we do have a nice, fun group of people inside there. Here we go. I'll post the link. It's free. Like, the goal for it's always been education. So if you like anything I'm saying and you want to hang out, and there's actually people way smarter than I am in there. So come hang out. We actually are just going to be getting into like a open research thing where we're all going to kind of share, our resources. And if you can bring something to the table, talk about a stock. If you see something, the idea behind it is, I was thinking about like when I went to entrepreneurship school in business school. Basically, one of the things we talked about was if you make if you want to make a solid plan, what you should do is you should basically try to have people poke holes in your idea because they may see things that you don't see. So I said, well, why can't we do that for stocks, right? Like, open research, we'll do it, right? And then we can go and, like, hundreds of us can go through and start researching these stocks together. And we can just kind of come up with this is what I wrote this morning, but basically, we would research stocks as a group, eventually create roles on the side here that will give you, color. We'll choose whatever color people want to vote on, and that will give you an analyst role in the Discord. So, but yeah, we'll start basically maybe once a week. We'll go through and we'll vote on which ones we want to really deep dive into, and kind of go from there. So, yeah, we already share. This is basically trying to do DD together. Yeah, like we've done this on other stocks. I'm just trying to get a place where we can kind of like vote on what we're going to look at, like really, look at. Like if there's something that looks interesting or weird, that's where we're going to bring it. Yeah, you can be an analyst and a mod, random. There, you get to be a mod of this YouTube channel right now. You're a mod now, random. Congrats. All right. Yeah, I think I actually am going to need a scotch tonight. Let me go grab one. Hold on a second. All right. I am back, and I'm getting a scotch because I have been coughing. And sometimes the scotch helps coat my throat. So I pour it out of this barrel that ages it. I have to fill it up again. Time to get a new... Oh yeah, this thing's almost empty. Okay. Yes, do you want to be a mod too? No, you're already a mod. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't even remember who I modded on YouTube. I just was like, all right, whoever's hanging out a lot. So, I mean, I'll make all you mods. I don't care. The regulars. Thanks, Ed. I do have my son here tonight. Yeah, that's totally fine. Tell your son hi. Some anonymous guy on the internet says hi. All right. So what's the DD Cole's notes? Oh, he's 22. Okay. So he's not like a 2-year-old. Because I actually have a 2-year-old, so I got started late. I'm gonna be the. I was thinking about. I'm gonna be the old dad at school. Not like super old, but like older than a lot of the. Yeah. Okay, so you had him younger, right? I was just thinking about like when I went to the orientation, I felt like 10 years older than a lot of the other parents. I was like, oh, well, that's different. All right. So we need to cover a couple things. First one I saw was... Oh, sorry. I apologize. I need to do something real quick. I need to follow through and actually post it on Twitter because I did not. And I'll just copy all these different tickers. I need to... I wish there was like some sort of bot that could basically I just post it in one place and it goes everywhere. Like, so I didn't have to do all the stuff manually because obviously that's no fun, right? All right. I don't even know what ticker is I'm right now. It doesn't matter. I will just go ahead and just put hashtags in front of some of these and see how it goes. Maybe we'll get some people from different tickers that we don't normally cover. Because, like, for example, I didn't usually tag XELA or, like, BBIG or ENDP, QNRX. So we'll go ahead and cover some of these other ones that we don't normally cover every night. See how that goes. All right. So let me go ahead and get the details from YouTube. Copy, paste into Twitter, and we'll get going. All right. So now we are good. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see. My understanding is there's a 50K float, a high cost to borrow, and short interest. Squeeze HKD. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So I think one of the things we established was a lot of these brand new IPOs, we don't have a ton of information on them. Obviously, let's see if we can find anything on that one. So, yeah, I mean, this is insane right here. Look at that. That's insane. This thing IPO'd. It says it's 16 million float. So, do we have any information except for a thank you note to our investors in response for our price performance? It's fraud. It's literally fraud. All right, so take a look at. All right, so we don't have any information there. Is there any information in this? So there's 16 million shares, right? So it was a 16 million share IPO. Risk factors, blah, 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 blah. Underwriting discounts, blah, 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 blah. Proceeds before. Okay. I mean, we don't have a ton of information. Right here, so here's the offering. Offering price was $7.80. Right. 16 million shares, or 18.4 million if the underwriter decides to exercise their options. Okay, so that probably happened, is my guess. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, well, I'll get to the other ticker. We're looking right now at HKD. Okay, so what I'm seeing essentially here, though, interestingly enough, is they're talking about this offering, the IPO, that ordinary shares issued and outstanding immediately after this. So this is saying 74 million ordinary shares, comprised of 8 million Class A, but there's 65 million Class B shares. So if you guys don't know the difference between the two, Class A's are typically for like investors, and then B's are typically insiders. So what they're saying that is basically, if you combine the two, that's basically 75 million. If the underwriter exercises their shares, it would comprise of another 2 million in some change in Class A's and the Class B's. So it's a 20-to-1 on these Class B's. Yeah, it's interesting. Every 5 ADS represents 2 class. Every 5, so it's 5, right? Every 5 ADS represents 2 Class A shares. If we declare dividends on the Class A, the depository will pay you cash dividends and distributions and returns. Okay, you may surrender your cancellation. This, because this is all from the IPO. So they were estimating they were going to receive 113 million from the offering. Okay, well, you guys are worth like a couple billion, so, which is insane. Like, they have a higher market cap than like Chevron, some like other like Fortune 100 companies. Like, it's insane right now what's going on with the stock. and how the SEC. Here's what annoys me, right? So the SEC's told retail investors that they were protecting them, so they allowed them to get basically shut down when GameStop ran from, $40 all the way up to $500. But they allowed this stock to run from like $13 all the way up to, what was it, 28,000 or 2,800? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, SEC, because if this is not crime, I don't know what it is. What's up, Dirty? HK stands Hong Kong dollars. Yep. I was going to say, I mean, I told people the other day, I thought that basically this was the Chinese, aristocrats and the top end of Chinese society trying to get their money out of China. Because I think China's got some issues. Especially with the banks. Like, the fact that they're sending tanks out to defend the banks, that's not a good sign in any sort of, Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, see if Pelosi owns it. Her husband's a very good trader for some odd reason. See, all you guys have to do to get rich is you just have to marry somebody in Congress who has control over what gets passed, and then you'll be rich. There you go. I just made you a couple $1 million. Now go find some senator to, marry. Sure, there's a couple single ones, right? Yeah, I mean, China's a possibility of imploding. We'll see. Okay. But yeah, so I think that's interesting. So what we can do now is we think we know at least why they're moving the money over, because China's running into some dire straits. So they're trying to move money onto the U.S. and probably other, basically out of China. So let's take a look at Ortex on this. Let me log in real quick. All right, so everyone knows who they are now, right? $203 billion market cap. Insanity. This is interesting. So you guys read that filing with me, right? It says shares outstanding is 885 million. What? Didn't we just look at that? Didn't we say there was only like 79 million or something like that total? So are they diluting? Is that what's going on? Yeah, that's just company structure, but and the Class Bs are exercisable for 20 Class As. Yeah, I didn't get that far through the filing, but I'm just looking at this going, all right, let's look up Class Bs. Okay. These Class Bs will constitute approximately 88.7% of total issued and outstanding shared. They have the same voting rights, which means that they have each Class B share is entitled to 20 votes, but not 20 shares. So basically, they have a weighted voting, so they can't get outvoted. Class A's get one vote. Class B's get 20 votes per one share. I see the 20 thing, but I see it as 20 votes. Like right here, each here, I'll put the mouse up because each Class B ordinary share is entitled to 20 votes and is convertible to Class A's at any time. Okay, so yeah, it is convertible into a Class A. So it's got 20 votes, but if they convert, they can convert it over. Let's see. Interesting. Does it convert over though at 20? It doesn't say that, right? Specifically, it says each Class B ordinary share is entitled to 20 votes and is convertible into Class A ordinary share. Does it stay 20 to 1 though? Because that would explain the larger float, obviously, but let's see. Under a dual class structure, our shares are divided in Class A, B, B. Okay, here we go. Let's see. So basically trying to make sure it doesn't fall into anybody else's hands. Our Class B ordinary shares referred to our Class B ordinary share. Okay. The par value is not important. They say that for every single one of these. They have to assign it some value, so they always assign it a fraction of a penny. Let's see, dilution. If you invest, your interest will be diluted to the extent of the differences between the IPO per ADS and our net tangible book value after this offering. Okay, that's interesting. Dilution results from the fact that our IPO price is normally substantially in excess of the book value. So they knew it was going to run up. Our net tangible book value as of February 28th, 2022 was approximately 382 million or $5.66 an ordinary share, and US $2 per ADS the same date. I see the 20 votes per share, and Class A's are entitled to 1 vote. They're convertible any time by the shareholder and exists on a 1-to-1. But doesn't this say right here, our Class B ordinary shares are convertible at any time by the holder into Class A on a 1-to-1 basis. So I don't see 20 to 1 on that. I see 1-to-1 when they convert them over. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm reading that as our Class B ordinary shares are convertible at any time of the holder, therefore or thereof, into the Class A ordinary shares at a 1-for-1 basis. They get 20 extra votes per one share when they're Bs, but as soon as they convert them over, it looks like it goes to a 1-to-1 basis. Yeah, but why does it say on here that there's 185 million shares outstanding? Like, if you combine the numbers, like, they don't add up to that. Did they have warrants or something that already got extra? Like, where are all these extra shares coming from? There wasn't enough Class A's and Class B's to make up that number. for shares outstanding. All right, I think my goal is going to be trying to find an accountant to go over this stuff with us sometimes. We'll bring them on. I've got a couple friends. I probably have to ask if they're comfortable being on the mic, but I'd love to actually get an accountant's point of view. We don't have to throw them at them live, but yeah, I don't see where they're getting these extra shares. I'm not going to go through the entire 78s, but when I was looking at this, that was the latest, right? There's no new filing. Supplement. It's the same one. It came out on the same day. It's the same. I don't know. If there's another filing, it's not on here yet. I mean, we can look on the SEC's EGR. No, it's the same things. It's from the 15th. Yeah, we don't have a ton of information on these stocks. They're coming over from China. We don't have, the only thing I can tell you is this. According to Ortex, they're saying it's 185 million shares outstanding. I don't see where they're coming up with that number, but let's assume they're right. The short interest on these guys is literally only 28, because retail can't short this thing. Retail doesn't have enough clout, and most retail, I should say. There are some rich retailers, but for the most part, most retailers are not going to be able to short the stock with the accounts that they have. So, that didn't say, right? When I went to the EGR, that was 7/15, wasn't it? 7/15. That was the last report or last filing date. So, I don't know. Oh, you're saying 8/15 is when the what's it called? The 13Fs drop for this. All right, so those two are tied, right? Tied together. HKD is... So, and they're tied together, right? That's the whole deal with this thing was combining the two or something like that. HKD. Yeah, so according to this, AMDT Digital trades under the ticker HKD and is a fully owned subsidiary of AMTD Idea Group, a Chinese investment holding company. So they're owned by AMDT or TD. Sorry. Yeah, some weird stuff's going on there. Personally, for me, I'm staying out of it. I'm not touching it. So, it just some stinks. Some stinks there. I don't know what it is, but maybe I'm too pea-brained to understand it. But from what I saw, I'm not touching that thing with a 10-foot pole. All right. Did we get porn bots again? Yep. Take care of it, mods, right? Yep, there we go. All right, so you wanted me to cover, let me scroll back up. It was QNRX. QNRX. All right, the pharmaceutical company that just IPO'd, right? Or no, they didn't just IPO. They've been around, right? They were the ones that had that spike in volume, right? Yeah. Yeah, so they got follow through. That's good. I think, let's see. Was it 300% up today? 360%? At least it had volume, unlike some of the other ones that got pumped up on very low volume. Okay, so let's take a look at this thing from the start. QNRX. Ooh, that's a lot of red. Okay. So, it looks to me like they're pumping up to unlock warrants. Let's take a look at why. But there is some information on this stuff. Okay, so the company right now, based off their cash burn, only has a couple months left of cash. So they made an August offering, right? So there are warrants on these things, and they have no exercise price. So that means at any time they can be unleashed, right? This one has a warrant price, but they have a little bit left in the shelf, right? But it's been withdrawn. So they have a new private placement that went, it looks like, when was that issued? Last year. And then since then, they have this one right here. So they have literally in the process, it's in process. So this thing right now, who was I talking to about this? Z. All right, Z. So what's going on with this thing is, I'll kind of break it down for you. This is me just at a glance. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but I'm just letting you know. It looks like they have some sort of S1 offering here. Let's see how many outstanding. So right now, let's see. Except for the indicated footnote about beneficial ownership, shares, ordinary shares, blah, blah, blah. Is that in dollars or no? The number of ordinary share beneficially owned. How big is this float? This float's got to be huge. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up over here. QNRX. Shares outstanding only has 671K. Wait, what? That doesn't look right at all. I said 92% of the float was short. Something looks off here. Something looks real off. Something's weird. Okay, so this is saying here. Do I have the right ticker, right? QNRX. Just want to make sure I have not like a... making stuff up here, but like QNRX. Yeah. That's the ticker symbol. QNRX. Why is this thing saying that there's only 671K shares outstanding? Okay, so yeah, it doesn't have an options change that I saw. I don't think so. Right, if we go to, I don't see an options chain up here. Options, they don't. Sure, open. No, I'm not doing that. Let me just look. You just want to party, don't you, CYDY? We'll hold something at some point, even if it takes a while. We'll hold something, a meetup. All the retail and collective people can meet up. We'll do some more fun. All right. Let's see. How many shares outstanding are in QNRX shares outstanding? According to NASDAQ. Okay. QNRX, American Depository Shares, Healthcare Medical Share Volume. If you guys see it before me, let me know. I mean, I can out. What, they don't list it? So NASDAQ, look at all these ads. You guys are supposed to be a financial institution. Like, do better. I want to see all these ads. I don't see it. That's worthless. Good job, NASDAQ. Put more ads than anything. Let's see if Yahoo's got it. It's probably in financials, maybe. No. How about statistics? Company. Nah. Chart has been analysis. No. Do they have it here? It's like outstanding shares. Oh, wait, here we go. Shares outstanding. It says 802K. Well, that's not what their filing says. What's going on with these Chinese companies and none of their stuff matching up to what the U.S. has on them? Like, Angry just entered the chat. We can still... All right. Shares outstanding. Like, minimum, that shit says the shares outstanding. Is that 3 billion shares outstanding? Weighted average. That's... What is going on with this thing? Wait, is that ADS again? Is that ADS again? Are they involved in this as well? Why is this? All right. Yeah, we covered HKD earlier, and I'm seeing a theme on these things. Their stuff doesn't match what we have on any of these sites. Something's off here. When you start digging... Okay, so this is the other one. This is QNRX. Yeah, HKD still looks sketchy on why it's run. And the only thing that I'm seeing, though, is there seems to be some sort of tie. Was it ADS? All right. Wasn't that the... Didn't we see that on the last one? On HKD? It was... Is that just an acronym? I'm being stupid right now, but let me just check. I thought there was literally like... No, it was AT. Sorry, it was AT something. That's what it was. Okay, so ADS is probably just an acronym. Let me go back to it. American Depository something. That's probably what it is. Yeah, American Depository Shares. Okay, so... yeah, porn bots. AMTD is the investment bank that brings companies to IPO. I can't find a list of their IPOs. Yeah, that would be super interesting to find out what else they're bringing onto market from China. Because we know anything about what just happened. It looks like Chinese investors are trying to get out. And they're fine coming here and doing weird things. Sorry, I was eating part of an apple. All right. I don't know what that is. Angry. Why is this guy speaking Squid Game? All right. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on here. So, I guess what I'm most curious about is this. This is a 747-page document. So I am not going to go over this with you guys. That's way too long. But just skimming, we wanted to go to the shares outstanding, right? So shares outstanding. All right. But what's going on with these numbers? All right. So like they don't have the revenue listed. I guess maybe, but they have a net loss of 21 million. Versus, but it's saying weighted average normal shares outstanding. That's like a billion, like 1.5 billion in 2021. And this is saying ordinary shares. Do they just report this differently in China? I don't know. I know they have a different accounting system there, though, but there was a list of names. You can go back to it. Where was the list? I just want to know how many shares outstanding this thing has. I mean, it says, except for the footnote, this is based off of 7.1 billion ordinary shares. Can that be right? No, that can't be right. Beneficial ownership information based off I feel like I'm going crazy. This is 7.1 billion, right? So like, if you took this times 7.1 billion, that would be probably the largest company in the world, and it's not. So what is going on with this thing? Some's weird. Something. I feel like I'm looking up the wrong ticker right now. Like that's like this is apple plus orange equals banana. Like that's where it is right now. I don't know how any of this stuff this isn't even Chinese. Is it under Israeli law? There's no currency control. Okay, page 94. Look at the names. Okay. Oh, right here. I see Goldman Sachs in on this for what looks like 580 million shares, which is 8%. I mean, that would... I'm a random dude from the internet, and I'm looking at this going, something doesn't look right. And maybe it's just because I'm an idiot, but like, to me, this looks like there's a ton of shares out there. And yet, like, I feel like I'm looking at the wrong, like, filing. Like, I have to be, right? Like, this is saying that there's billions of shares out there. And then when you go to Yahoo and they're saying there's only 671K. This one's saying 800K. Goldman Sachs owns what? Look at this. Goldman Sachs owns 580 million ordinary shares. But yet, they're saying that on this thing, it's only a $13 million market cap. So the warrants were reduced down to 0 on July 15th, which means they can be exercised any time. They liquidated on 15th, received an additional 1.8 to meet escrow, and will receive 11. So there's people already diluting and shorting it. This recent reverse merge with APOP float temporarily limited to... Oh, see, I think this is the key. Okay. This must be the key. Yeah. So, recent reverse merger. So, they're going through a reverse merger with APOP, which means that the float is limited right now until the new shares hit the market. So, this is like SST. Not quite, because the SST was a S1, but basically, from what it looks like, they've locked up the float, and someone's trying to take advantage of this thing while the float is limited until the new shares hit the market. That's essentially what it looks like they're trying to do. And they weren't successful until recently and got some like traction, and then now somebody's trying to pump it. But as soon as those shares hit, it should dilute heavily. At least a couple million. So, but yeah, in the meantime, it looks like it's a tiny, tiny float. I'd be curious. They're saying, though, that the short interest, though, is 93%. So, yeah, someone's been trying to, like, pump it, it looks like. So someone really shorted it there, then we drew back some there. It's just been kind of going back and forth. But this increased 900% from the week before. Yeah, so once again, we at least caught this portion, which is they went through a reverse merger last year, and the float has been temporarily limited to 900K. But I don't know when these pipes and the pipe warrants are going to hit. But it is going to go through dilution. So, all right. At least we figured that one out. That's a little better. All right. What other ones you guys want to do? You want to research something together? Or you want to take a look at some of these? Yeah, but it looks like they've got a high chance of dilution on QNRX. It doesn't mean it can't go. It probably will go. I just don't know when they're going to go ahead and, issue out those new shares. So if you're going to play it, just be careful and be, Yeah, we can cover BBBY. So, some of you know, I do have a position in BBBY. And I thought I got faked out, to be honest with you. On the last chart when they started going up, I saw and I was like, their earnings can't be that bad. Well, their earnings were pretty bad. So, I know Ryan Cohen has a pretty large position at 15 on the stock and calls, and I think he's talked about. Obviously, he sends those cryptic things. I got faked out here on this one, or maybe it was this one. One of these like breakouts, I was like, okay, so this was the bottom, this was the spring. Now we're gonna, we got the gap down. We need to fill that, right? So they filled the gap there. So that's going to be the question: is how much pressure can this get? Because we've already filled that gap, so we could reject off here, head back down, or is this going to be one of those battlegrounds that retail puts their flag in and says, this is ours now, we like the stock no matter what happens, and it becomes a big thing? Because I believe they're already like 60% short interest. This is only saying 30, but let's go over a couple things. BlackRock still owns a good amount of this, so does Vanguard. So you've got people who want to keep their money in here, right? They haven't sold off all their position. All right, they missed on a lot of things. Just to be fully transparent, like this is a company that's having huge issues, right? Like their cash went down like $300 million. Because I looked at this before in the past, but like their liabilities right now are greater than their actual total assets, so that's obviously not good. They've got a net loss, pretty sizable. Negative cash flow. It's all not pretty on the balance sheet. So Ryan Cohen seems to like it for some reason. He's been pretty good with his stock stuff so far. He bought more GME before it ran. He then, he also, owns Chewy, and he's now invested in BBBY. And the question is, like, I don't know how they turn around their stuff, but from a squeeze standpoint, though, it does look interesting because I saw there was a good amount of kind of like chatter going on about the thing. All right. And then you have, pull up Vortex again. They're one of the most shorted, I think, out there, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's like close to 45%, 46%. Shorted. That's a lot of short interests. Like, you're talking about like 31 million or 45% of the float shorted. Anything over 15 is high. So this is like, and granted, they deserve to get shorted, at least some, because their earnings were crap. But now we're probably going to be looking at why this thing's just, this is where I think that something's going on. They failed to deliver, I believe it was, 3.something million? 3.15 million shares in a day. That's insane. Like, that's a lot. Like, that's a good portion of their float. So, yeah, I think this can head up. It does look like it's starting to form a cup and handle. Like, we'll see how much it draws out. I don't think it's going to run the second personally, but like, we'll see. The cost to borrow is still pretty low. Utilization is 100%. And this thing will grow as more and more people buy and hold it. But, just pointing it out. Yeah. So, and I was going to say, don't be afraid, like, for me at least, don't be afraid. Like, for me, I'm not profitable on this trade. Even though it's been running, I bought in at a bad time. I bought in because I thought this was the reversal back here. And I got absolutely just destroyed. Like, I was buying at like 8, 9. A lot of people down here got to buy in at like, was it 6, 5, 4 even in some cases? Yeah. It got down to the 4s. So, for me, it's going to be a while before I'm profitable on that. But, I do have some leaps on them, and yeah. So I have Vroom as well. Vroom is the position I took up. I have some spreads on those. All right. So Vroom, the car company, right? Got a sympathy play, but it has been moving, right? So it got a trade signal on August 3rd, which is today. So or is it midnight now? No, not yet. It's saying it got a trade signal to buy. Yesterday's, it's saying. So I guess on the 2nd maybe. On Ortex. And it moved today. Insiders have bought 18K in the last 3 months. Let's look at the shorts. Shorts are about 23% right now. Cost to borrow is still low. Utilization is still not 100%. But, we'll see. Like, for me, this was more of a reversal play than a squeeze play to me. But there's still enough squeeze to make it interesting. So, they've been down here for quite some time. And so they're finally just starting to make a run up. But just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Fish is still in the server. He actually just landed a job, and I won't blow up his spot if he wants to tell you guys where he got the job. But he's going to be working for some smart money soon, so I don't think he can play with us anymore. But yeah, congrats to him. It's special time, He did his school, getting the real job now. But we'll see if he gets a Bloomberg in his new job. All right. But yeah, I was going to say, so Vroom's obviously got some short interest against it. It's a reversal play, in my opinion. Like to see the cost of borrow come up a little bit and start making people, I just want to see some of these things move. I think it's more than $1 stock. I think these shorts beat down a lot of these things, and we'll see. What were the other ones? What was it? OTS. Let's take a look real quick. Is this like a German company? I don't know what this is. Consumer staples, food, beverage. I mean, I don't see anything really here. Trade, is this some sort of OST? That's what. Correction. OST. Okay. Austin Technology Group. It's a small float, 13 million. Looks like they have 6.9, basically 7 million for a free float. So that must mean insiders own a good chunk of it. Utilization's at 100. Just got there today. Looks like they had more short interest and it's really dropped. So I would question why this thing's even... Yeah, it doesn't really have a high squeeze score. It just moved today. My guess would be probably on like actual legitimate news, but it did leave a gap up, which means at some point we're going to probably go back and fill this gap. It's, who knows when, but those gaps tend to fill, is what I can tell you. So, was it good news that popped this thing? I don't see any headlines here. But something pushed it up. So, and it wasn't short interest, because short interest was pretty low. It's like 2% of the free float. So, all right. So yeah, I mean, I can go to dilution tracker and just take a look, but I'm not quite sure. Okay, so the company needs cash, so it looks like they might be pumping it. They went through an IPO. Shengang Securities. I guess it's China, yeah. So a lot of these are Chinese plays. Yeah, I was going to say most of the plays in short squeeze aren't even like short squeezes. They're just stocks that are running. And people are like, squeeze them. I'm like, there's nothing to squeeze. It's 2% short interest. What are you going to squeeze? Yeah, you showed those shorts. Yeah, I don't see much going on. Not a ton of news that I'm seeing. These are disclosures. So institutions own 70% of it. Donation to the tracker fund. Hashtag the Eagles suck. CJ, where are you from? Or what's your team? I'm just curious. Obviously, NFC East probably. Nobody hates the Eagles unless they're NFC. He's a Giants fan. That's why, right? And did you reach out to the guys in optionality? It's a reasonable hour now. I can reach out to them right now. I did blank on it today. I was looking into some other stuff. Where is Discord? Here we go. Let me see where I put them, because I started a conversation with them. I think I know where it is. Okay. I just asked them. No, Budget, we haven't really covered Ethereum today. There's not a whole lot new with the stock. I mean, it got slightly more volume than it did, but I mean, the reason why shorts are typically held in right now is because they think that they're going to probably need more money. So that would probably, that's probably what they're banking on. But we won't know anything until we actually see the earnings on Monday of next week. So there's not a ton going on at this point right now. What I can show you is we do see they are shorting it more going into earnings, it looks like. It rose a slight bit today. It went up like 3%, but this is Wednesday, so they typically are trying to attract more people. So they're trying to get options players to buy the 250s, and they're just going to push it back down. Like, this is their MO, is every single Wednesday, or Tuesday or Wednesday, they move the stock up. People get excited. They buy a couple of 250s, and then they push the stock back down to 250. And that's what we've been in basically since back here. Like, look at this. We did it here. It ran up a little bit and came back down, and now we've just been consolidating in this range. And they've just been playing this rug pull, right? Dropped it all the way down to the recent low, and then they pushed it back up into the 250s again. So these numbers are growing, though. I was going to say the average, though, has been getting a little bit lower over time. Yeah. So, I mean, but if you look at the actual exchange reported data, 7.8, 8.6, 9.5. So they've been adding to their short position, recently over the last basically like 3 reporting sessions. So, I don't know, what's your take on how to get it back up? So I think really what it boils down to is this. They're going to run it up on warrants. They meaning the market makers, hedge funds, whoever, is the one that's controlling what the price is with the algos. The biggest issue is like, listen, so do you know what this is to a short hedge fund? $23 million? That's chump change. So they literally are able to control the price of the stock with like $20 million on Ethereum. Like, to a lot of these that are handling billions and billions of dollars, this is nothing, right? So, like, they have control. So what it's going to take is for them to close out these 9 million, 10 million shares, whatever they owe now. It would take Ethereum actually doing well as a company and showing that they are going to survive. Because I think at this point right now, they're in a holding pattern. Shorts, it doesn't cost them that much right now. We've had a sustained like 40, 50% cost to borrow for like a while now. But it's not really hurting them that bad. Like, here's utilization, but let's see what the cost to borrow has been. Cost to borrow. Right? So cost to borrow had gotten all the way up into the 100-something%, and it's been chilling, though. It's been going down, but it's been chilling above like 15. So it's not costing them nothing to do this, but it's costing them far less because it's not a big float, and they're only shorting basically about 10 million shares roughly, right? And they're having to only pay, 40, 50%, APR on it. So what it's going to probably take for Ethereum is for them to basically show that like their biggest expenses were at the one point the shipping containers. Those are starting to come down now, right? They need to basically show, okay, we're still either growing with revenue or we're adding value to the company. And so far they've just been kind of treading water. So that's why it hasn't really moved, right? Like, it moved randomly on no news, no catalysts. Right, so who pumped it to 7? My guess would be probably Armistice or one of the like hedge funds that wanted to unlock those warrants, or not warrant, the pre-funded warrants. They knew they had to bring it up to basically dilute, so they used basically retail as an excuse, and they did it. And now the question is, when will they do it again? Because they're going to have to come up again to get through. Yeah, I mean, like, if you DRS your shares, they can't play these games. And so here's where I think most people are like, and this is just something I was thinking about the last couple weeks. So we know that these things run hot, cold. It all depends, right? So retail will get FOMO in. We see this massive spikes in volume, right? Right. So massive volume here, and then it dies. Retail is either just holding or they sold out of their position. Same thing here. We had massive volume for a sustained long while, all while they're just pushing it down. And then So the question is this. At what point will they push the stock up again to dilute? But at the same time, when is Ethereum going to start actually, showing some progress and saying, okay, like this is where our plan is? Like they need to provide guidance coming up. Not this one, but like after this, they've provided no guidance for like a year and a half. And at some point, they're going to have to get it together and be like, listen, we need to kind of stake our, claim at this point. We understand things got tight, and there's probably going to be a pullback in recession. So, like, how are they going to survive this? They need to innovate, and they need to figure out things. You can't just, if something right now is not working, if you're not producing enough business to revenue to like offset. I understand you're a new company, you have to like do this, but how long are you going to be able to do this before it just gets shorted into the dirt? So DRSing shares is when you lock away the shares from the DTC. The biggest problem we had on these two run-ups, and this is, I guess, the important thing I was going to say before, was the brokerages actually were the ones that were failing to deliver. So if we go to FTDs, let me take out some of this stuff so you guys can see it. Okay. What I want to show you is this. These FTDs got to be pretty massive, right? Like almost a million there. Well, look at this one over here. 2.48 million shares failed to deliver in a single day during the run-up. So I want to put this in perspective. During that time when they failed to deliver 2 million shares, right? All these brokers out there, they were having trouble coming up with the shares. And did they get forced to close out their positions? No, they did not. Why? Well, that's the same issue we've been having every single time these stocks end up on the reg show, and then shorts always seem to get this free pass. And when I talked to Alec about this the other day, he said that they'll just file for some extension so they could basically kick the can down the road. Let's see. Yeah, it's not realistic to get everyone to DRS. Yeah, and listen, I tried. I'm starting to think that I don't think I want to hold any shares in any brokerage. I'll just put them in my own name, and I'll call in if I have to sell them. It's I'm getting to that point where I trust the DTC as far as I can throw them. But yeah. During these spikes, brokers were the ones, our own brokers were the ones that were basically screwing us over and making sure they kicked the can down the road. Like, it's a systematic problem. It really is. Like, Ethereum should have popped even higher here. I mean, but you know what happened? They got some of those pre-funded warrants and they started pushing down the price and shorting it, and then, at that point, they were able to get enough retail to shake out the tree that they could get them to sell, right? They left some gaps here they need to fill back in the fours. I expect that to come at some point, right? But we're basically 30% short, and it probably will be that way for a while. What I can tell you is this. If you are able to, if you want to link your stuff through Fintel, that's what I did and some other people did, and we've shown that we own about 6 point something % of the entire float, or free float. So, that's my take on it right now. Is they're going to figure it out at some point. It's just a matter of when. And I think the leadership team needs to basically be proactive and say, listen, like, obviously what we're doing is not working in this economy. What can we do? Like, if you need to pivot, yeah, I agree. They need some sort of monthly subscription, some sort of thing that they can actually make money on consistently. You know, let the other stuff be bonus, but like their core business, if it's not going to be profitable next, then you got to figure out something that's going to be. Add items that will sell and that, you know, people will do. Yeah, there's definitely more shares outstanding, or not, sorry, more shares that have been issued out at times than existed in the float. That's what I can tell you. Like, you don't fail to deliver 2.48, almost 2.5 million shares on a stock that only had 20-something million shares at the time for the free float. So, there's that. Kareem likes DTC. He thinks that they have a better chance than ATER. What do you think? Yeah, I think DTC is obviously a different type of stock, and I've always liked DTC. I think it's an interesting company, and I think they're in a very interesting pattern that looks like it's about to break out. What I can tell you is this. So, short interest, it looks like there was some covering maybe today. Tiny bit of covering. These numbers, like I said, are not probably correct for DTC. They're already a larger company just based off like the market cap right now. You know, so what I would say is, yes, they probably will at least. I'm curious to see what the revenue does, just like Ethereum. These are two companies that I want to see, because they're still growth companies, so I want to see revenue growth. So that's kind of where I sit on this. Like, will they do better than Ethereum ticker-wise? Yeah, probably. I think right now they're getting some love on the short squeeze forum, whereas Ethereum, I haven't heard a peep at anyone in a long time. And I think people, you know, were hearing and spamming Ethereum because they, you know, we're trying to get the number or the name back up. At some point, when the short interest starts getting high again, and you know, shorts decide that okay, we need to let the pressure off to reshort it back down, you'll see another run, pretty aggressive run. And so it might be to unlock warrants. Who knows what the reasoning will be? But Ethereum will pop again, and DTC will probably go up quite a bit. Because I think if they beat on earnings for DTC, they're going to fly because there's no liquidity on the stock. Insiders own a ton, and I think retail at this point is, you know, doing that. Okay, I'll do a couple more. Yeah, DTC sells mainly summer products, so it's possible that they will do very well because the kayak sales and all that stuff. You know, they do paddle boards and also the foldable, you know, ones, and then they, yeah. So naturally, those numbers I would think would be better, especially with like chubbies and them being like shorts and outdoor apparel. But I would imagine the solo stoves are probably more popular in the fall in North America. So it's like hit or miss. You know, for some places, you know, they'll be outside and buying, but like when I go camping, I typically don't want to, you know, like I wouldn't be buying a solo stove when it's, you know, super hot. So, but yeah, I think they'll do just fine. And they have a nice chart, so I think that's good. Let's see, shop, is it doing a reversal? Looks like it. That could have been the spring. Earnings must have been a beat. And the only thing you have to watch out for, though, is just remember, and I don't know, this is part of, it's a big company, right? Shopify is a big company. So when I looked at the SPY, right, I wrote out these particular price lines. I just want to point out we broke through here eventually, came back up, used it as a resistance, broke back down, and now we're using it as a resistance right now. If this pops up and runs and retests, for strength on the pop up, and we actually see some volume, then yeah, Shopify will probably continue. But if this rejects and breaks down, I think Shopify will go down with the overall market. And so while it looks like it's having a nice chart right now, it all depends on what the SPY is going to do. Because if the SPY all of a sudden drops, 80 points, Shopify will be cheaper in the future as well. Because Shopify still tracks with the overall market. So, but yeah, according to this, all the indicators are starting to at least look like they're going back up. I mean, if you look at this, the CCI is going, the awesome starting to go up. You're starting to get some TTM love, and then you've crossed over on the MACD again. So, yeah. But yeah, just watch what the SPY is doing, because I would imagine there's probably a level of support and resistance that we can look at. Hold on a second. Main floor. You know what I should do? Issuing bot commands. Here we go. So if we do TA on shop. Okay. So shop is, they've got resistance levels at 43.29. So if we go over here, 43, that would be a little higher, so I need to zoom out. 43.29. That's close enough. Add drawing. We say 43.29. Okay. So that's one area. So I'd be watching super close at that first one. And then the second one is for add drawing, add price line. Oops. At 44.65. 44. Come on, mouse. I can't get it. That's close enough. So those would be the ones I'm looking at. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping consumers, it's summer also in North America, so I'm hoping they're selling, AC units like hotcakes, especially with how hot it's been, but, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, there needs to be some sort of thing that's going to raise Ethereum out of the gutter, because at this point, they shorted them down, and the damage really got done already, because if you want to go back to Ethereum, this is what I saw from them. So this is the part that's really kind of criminal. This part right here, right? So they had to they ran out of money. The shorts knew that they were low on cash. So what do? They pushed the stock price down as much as they could, knowing that they were going to run out of cash. So what do? They have to do some sort of either private placement, ATM, whatever, right? So they have to do dilution to raise the money. Or their balance sheet will look like crap. So they sold some shares to these private placement firms, Armistice and High Trail. And what ends up happening? They end up basically getting these shares for like $2.92 and $3.10 or 20 cents for the warrants. So these are shares that probably would have, if they hadn't been targeted by the shorts, probably would have been trading in the like 6 to 8 range, if not the 8 to 10, if there was no short interest against this company. So, I mean, the way I'm looking at it, like, they got screwed by having to do that, and so now you've had to add a bunch more shares at a lower price. You could have raised more money, so the shorts, did them dirty by pushing down the price and then basically suffocating them. And then they're going to try to do it again. Like, that's the end goal for these guys. But eventually, if the stock price becomes so low that retail's able to really lock up the float, and we can talk about this, but when they start failing to deliver again, if people DRS or do whatever they need to, this thing could go parabolic. It'd be interesting. So, what's up, Hustle? How you been? About to head out soon, but I just wanted to cover a couple things before I left. Alright, so said on Discord, it's like Groundhog Day. Yeah, like Wednesday, push it up, get people to buy the 250s. Friday, push it down to 249, burn those calls, make a little money. And people don't seem to learn. Like, it's kind of amazing. But at some point, no, you're good, Hustle, you're good. You used to stay on till midnight, falling apart on us. Yeah, trying to spend some time with the family and wife specifically. Apparently, she was fine with it before, but now is kind of like, hey, how many hours are you going to be down there? So, it depends on the day. Yeah. All right. So let's see. I drew those out. We should be good. But yeah, like I'm curious to see what's going on. Yeah, hump day for. Yeah, think about this. Think about like AMC, right? So what do you do if you're an AMC market maker, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Boom. Make it look good, and is it going to continue going up? Or is it going to fade and then burn all those? Like, I'm not looking at an options chain for AMC, but I'm imagining there's probably a lot of people buying calls on AMC right now. Options chain. Let's pull it up. Why isn't the wife just tuning live as if she's hanging with me? Because she hates all this stuff, to be honest with you guys. My wife is not impressed by any of the stock stuff. Oh, yeah. CZU, right? CZU. Let's see. I did want to take a look at that one, too. So I'll stay a little bit longer just to do that one for you. By the way, thank you, CJ. If you're still listening, I appreciate it. To the Eagle Suck Club. I dated a girl before I married my wife, my other long-term relationship, and she was a big Eagles fan. She was from I won't give too much away, but she was from that area, King of Prussia areas, I should say. So, but yeah, she was a big Eagles fan, and we lived in a city that was not an Eagles town, and she would wear her Eagle stuff to the games, and I'm like, no, why are you doing that? Like, blend. Yeah, so she sucked. Yeah. Well, didn't marry her, so she I won't. In case she ever hears this, I'm not. Things did not work out between us, but I think we're both happier now. So that's all that matters, right? The Eagles music is awesome. Yes, I do like the Eagles, the band. All right, Sisu, right? Last one, Sisu. Kazoo. They need cash. High float. Wow, they burn a lot of cash. They must have acquired something, right? Yeah, Max Payne's $250 for ATER every week. Nothing changes there. All right, so you got some warrants, pipe warrants at 1150. Their convertible notes are not registered yet, but they do need some cash. They're going through some serious cash right now. So, large float. You guys are old. Post Malone all day. Circles, right? I know that one. All right. So right now there's currently 761 shares outstanding. That's a high float. Not like Nokia, but like that's a pretty high, you know. Now we know who smokes pot. We do have to get together at some point though, just as like a fun meetup. So I've talked to you before, and I told you when I go out to California, I do want to go to California, visit my grandma. She's out there, so I want to go visit her as she's gotten older. So okay, so there's a lot of these like convertible notes. There's a lot of dilution that's already happened on this stock. I'm just curious, what's the attraction to Sisu? You tell me. What do we got going on with this thing? Why all the interest? Oops, I wanted to go to Ortex. Oh, Shadi, you're in California too? Or are you in NorCal or SoCal? Born Cali, raised Texan. Work dinner tonight was outdoors, fresh fish, plenty of drinks. Nice. Yeah, you guys are living pretty good over there on that side. I do miss the weather. When I was in the Marines, I was stationed in Pendleton, which is in between LA and San Diego, and it was insane to me because I mean there was a summer I think that we went like 127 days without rain, and I was like, what is this place? How do you have weather that does that, where it's bright and sunny and beautiful every single day? Okay, so they moved. They got volume the other day. Any trade signal? Nope. From May. What's the other camps? Oh, that's what other camps call Pendleton. Oh, Camp Hollywood, yeah. Well, I mean, we call all the West Coast Marines Hollywood Marines because, you know, they go to boot camp in San Diego, which is close enough to Hollywood for what we did. I was an East Coast Marine, so I think it's anywhere east of the Mississippi, you go to Parris Island. That was the one featured on, obviously, Full Metal Jacket, and then the West Coast Marines all go from west of the Mississippi is all Recruit Depot San Diego, which is right across from the airport. So I'm new to the game. I found it through news. Okay. Just curious, like, so what I see on this, like, you don't really have very high short interest, so it's not like a squeeze play. What you're looking for is probably a reversal. So what you're probably looking to do then is you want to go into the fundamentals about this company and see why it's got a really high float. So, like, it looks like they're saying this thing's worth about 55 cents according to Ortex's book value. The stock's trading right now at what, like 99? So they may have been just pushing it up to make sure it doesn't get delisted. Because if you stay underneath a certain price for too long, you can actually, you can get delisted out of the exchange. So it could just be that they were pushing it back up to keep it in compliance, or they may have actually gotten some good news. I didn't see, was there any sort of their vehicle sales surged, but they're losing money. They're talking about shutting down the European business to save cash. So maybe they're thinking it'd be worth that. Anna, do you ever day trade? I do sometimes. It really depends. I'm more of a swing trader. I'll stay in usually overnight, and but there are times where I'm like, I just want to scalp, and I know I can make a, if something's really oversold and it's pretty obvious, or overbought, I'll swing. I'll do that within the day. So I'll day trade on some of those. But yeah. So for Kazoo, I mean, what I'd like to see from them is I would like to see their full balance sheet. I'm not going to have time to go through the entire thing. But if you want to jump into the Discord at some point there, Cowman, you're more than welcome to get in there with us. And if you want, we're starting a new research section. I'll link the Discord. It's free. So if you want to jump into it, hang out with us, and here we go. There. So join us in there, Cowman, and then post the question of like, okay, can we do some research on this? If you were to pick one short squeeze play besides ATER right now, which would it be? I mean, is it based off pure numbers? By pure numbers, REV is still very shorted. They probably could, and they're getting beat down right now. But if retail actually held on, this thing could run higher. REV has been interesting. It looks like certain ones are just ready to turn around. I do like DTC because I think it's a liquid. I think they don't have a lot of liquidity, so I think DTC will move pretty aggressively if retail comes in on it. But if that's for any stock. If you give any stock volume, it's going to move. But with DTC specifically, I think they have a lot of chance to go up because their stuff underlying, there are a lot of institutions that really like their stock. So if you look at DTC, solo brands, insiders bought a huge amount. Insiders spent $411K buying insider shares. Analysts are putting it as 4 buys, no sells, no holds. It got a buy signal a couple months ago. This thing is ready to go. It's been consolidating down here for a while, so I think this is going to be the same thing. Yeah, and like I said, ATER will move with any volume as well because it's a liquid. A lot of these shares are not they're out on loan. These stocks are liquid. So I think if I was to choose one besides ATER, it would be either REV, DTC, because I think both are prime and ready to go. I think REV's going to get beat down, and I think REV. It all depends though on their IP or their a Chapter 11 filing and what's stated in there, and they do still have an active ATM. So did they start using some of that money, or did they start issuing them out? I don't know. We'll have to find out in a couple days. So that's what could kill REV. DTC, I think, no matter what, I think it's a less risky play because underlying there's still, a thing there. All right, I'll do GETY. You guys see, now you're calling me out for not staying up late, but I'm staying up for you guys. Just take a look. Yeah, this is a weird run, right? That's the gap I don't like. So, like, to me, I'd be looking, if I was going long on these guys, I'd be looking to fill this gap. Yeah, I mean, GETY's already kind of ran. But, once again, that's a big gap that needs to be filled. And so, for me, at least, we'll see. But, it's small float, so it's going to move. Like, cost to borrow is really high on it, but is there dilution on GETY? Nah, it's not saying it matters. Yeah, they do have warrants at 1150, so just throwing it out there for you. There is warrants at 1150. So the stock price right now being at 35, those warrants can be used. How many of them are there? Let's tell me how many they are. Kind of need to know how many warrants there are. I'm sure there is. If you type in the ticker, does it come up as GETY? Is there warrants? Yeah, there's warrants right here. All right, maybe if I go to there. They're going through a merger. Is that what's going on with this thing? Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't have time to go through this right now, but looks like there's some sort of merger and also some sort of they do have warrants on it as well. So, but they're a bigger company, so I don't think it really matters as much. Oh, look right here. There's 500K left after redemptions. So, I don't know, 500K shares, I'm guessing. Yeah, there's not as much downside to a lot of these stocks, especially to me, I would never join into the what was the Chinese one in the beginning, HKD at 1,000 a share. That to me makes no sense. Unless there was 4 shares and the company was worth, way less. But to me, that's not worth the debt. It's already ran up a good amount. I'm not going to jump in then. But stocks like, Ethereum, for example, who are at their near lows, I'd rather buy there than to buy some stock that's already been pumped. You don't buy things when they're up here. You buy things when they're down here. Look, if you bought down here when it was completely oversold, it just ran up after that. You buy down here, I don't know why people keep getting this twisted. Look at it. they pushed down the price, but overall, this thing's, it's a liquid. So, yeah, if you can like and subscribe, that'd be great. I guess the last part is this. Well, I linked the thing before, but here's the link again to the free Discord. If you can like and subscribe, that'd be great. And you guys have a great night, but I'm going to hop off here because I'm getting tired. All right, you guys have a great evening.